no
idea.
one will realise. That's
No
the
one
great
will.
thing.
That's a great thing. Because a lot of local radio stations now, that's all they have, isn't it? It's just a robotic guy. It's not even a real DJ there. It's brilliant. He just records a number of links, normally involving, and a great one from Simply Red. That's all he needs to say, and he's covered. But also, people have often been complaining that the show's perhaps not public service enough. And to that end, I was digging around on the web, and I found this. This is quite fun. Play this, Stu.
Hi, this is James Brown, soul brother #1, always fighting. Now I'm fighting. Stay away from drugs, because they are super bad, super bad, super bad, super bad.
What I like about that is that it appears as though he's on drugs while recording it.
Yeah.
And it's the idea that he's just clearly making it up as he goes along.
Yeah.
And the best he can offer is they're super bad.
Isn't Superbad good?
But I thought Superbad was pretty funky.
Superbad was pretty good.
But this is a man, of course, who later walked into an office adjacent to his building, high on PCP, with a shotgun, threatening a group of people because he thought, in his paranoid delusions, that they'd used his toilet. and so it's just odd that they would ever have recruited him to be a drugs advocate. But I just think, if you are thinking of taking drugs, maybe you're in a park as we speak, listening on a digital radio, you're just sparking up a fat one, or you're off your eyeballs on that. What's the horse tranquilizer? You dip in your eyes.
Mong balls.
Oh yeah, if you're dosed up on Mong balls, if you are dosed up on Mong balls, get in touch. 64046 Stephen.6music.uk. Tell us what the sensation's like.
Maybe we could lay down a funky beat, and someone on Mongol could tell us not to take.
It's good not to take. But anyway, I thought it was as James Brown is. I think he's just been buried. I felt that it was a long time coming, but the Steve Show's not yet actually celebrated the passing of James Brown. I don't mean we celebrate him. Obviously, we celebrate his great work, and obviously we commiserate his passing. But anyway, here's some James Brown. From the mid-70s period in James Brown's life, when he was sort of following trends rather than starting them. That's a track called Hot, I Need to Be Loved. Guys, do you recognise the riff?
Sure,
yeah,
sure. I'm getting a bit Bowie there, aren't I?
Bit Bowie fame.
Yeah.
I know what you're thinking. You're thinking surely Bowie ripped off James Brown.
Yeah.
He made a terrible mistake.
What?
It's a common misconception. It was actually the other way around. Apparently, Brown, who later, of course, lambasted people for sampling him, actually ripped off Bowie.
I'm sure he paid his dues.
You think so?
It's interesting, though, that you wanted to celebrate his life, and so you play a tune, and you've had a massive go at it.
Yeah. It's the kind of weird, dark, misanthropic nature of this show that's the way we approach things. Guys, listen, we have to move along a pace because we want to get in a couple of your choices before the all-important news. As I said, very much the raison d'etre of the show is that we get to you, the listeners, we get people into the studio to just recommend songs to me, music maybe that I'm unfamiliar with, and while I'm playing songs to you, you can also recommend them to me. You can go to the website www.bbc.co.uk/6music and you can recommend a tune there. But in the meantime, guys, you've made a couple of selections. I believe, Dan, that your choice is first up. In the past, of course, you've made some mediocre selections. What have you got for us this week?
Well, not even mediocre, Steve. I wish they were that good. But I think every week I've gone head-to-head with Harry, and I've lost every single week. So I've done a little bit of research this week. My spies have been out, and they tell me that Harry's gone transatlantic with his choices, which I think is a little bit, that's the work of a traitor.
Sure.
So I picked two great, obscure British numbers. They could only have come from these islands, and the first tune is by a band called Broadcast, and it's called Come On Let's Go.
Let's hear it. Come On Let's Go from Broadcast on the Steve Show 6 Music. Broadcast, didn't they used to be on the fairly avant-garde Warp label? Not avant-garde, but Warp, of course, home to Aphex Twin, I believe.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
I was expecting them to be a little bit more left field, a bit more experimental than that.
No, not really. What I've always liked about them is that they've got that electronic element in their music. It gets quite eerie, and they do occasionally venture into that, but they've very much got the pop sensibility. There's a kind of a 60s feel to some of their music and the melodies, which I've always quite enjoyed. And lyrically, that song, I don't know if you were listening to it, but it's sort of reminiscent of the Smiths, almost.
Sure.
I thought. Sure. And it was brilliant.
Well, let's allow Harry to be the judge, a man who I know always turns his nose up at slightly fey kind of electronica.
Well, this is it, it was quite nice, but it washed over me, and she sounded really disinterested and bored, old Mrs. Broadcast, so I'm thinking, why the hell should I be interested?
Well, you say that, but 25,279 MySpace friends for Broadcast, that's a whopping total.
What can you throw back in Dan's face?
Well, I'm throwing back more soul, more heart, and more feeling than every member of Broadcast has ever felt in their life.
Crumbs, big words.
I'm coming to the plate with a American Music Club, one of the greatest bands of the 80s and 90s. They split. Mark Eitzel did a load of solo work, which was some was great, some was average. They reformed. They recorded a new album a couple of years ago, and this track is called Home.
As Harry's just pointed out, it does sound a little bit like Chaz and Dave.
It's exactly like Chaz.
There is a sort of Chaz and Dave knees up.
Yeah, only not as much fun.
I actually think the Fratellis sound a bit like Chaz and Dave.
And you can do that to all of their songs. Maybe we'll try that one week.
That's a game for next week.
Yeah.
Maybe that's for the Steve Show special, just an hour of us singing along to the Fratellis. Are Chaz and Dave okay? Because I thought either Chaz or Dave was a bit unwell.
I've no idea.
I think
I hope they're back on top form.
Someone will know out there.
What have C&D been doing? Have they been writing smash hit tunes for other acts, rather like Kathy Dennis?
No, I believe that Dave has moved into electronica.
Oh, really?
Yeah, swapped his piano for a synth.
Sure, a Moog.
Yeah.
If you know what either Chaz or Dave are doing, 64046 Stephen.6music@bbc.co.uk. I was concerned that either as I say, Chaz or Dave was a bit unwell, so obviously we want to hope that he's back on his feet. So let us know if you know the current whereabouts of C&D. I'm always a bit wary of going onto any of the Six Music forums or any kind of internet websites that discuss the work that I've done. Not that this is work as such, but anything that I've contributed to. Because I think if you read the comments that people write about you will drive yourself insane. If you believe the nice ones, then obviously. But anyway, someone said you should look on the Six Music web forum, and I have to say that the people on there are incredibly passionate, and I have to hand that to them. They really, they are very committed to Six Music, and they really want to, make sure the station sort of stays true to its beliefs and stuff, which is great. But I do think that perhaps sometimes they take things just a trifle too seriously. And I was looking on some of them, and Captain Seagull, he's not a fan. Seagull, the captain doesn't like the show, and he has basically decided that we are a bunch of unelected nobodies. Now, he's right that we are a bunch of unelected nobodies, although I would say in the past we have made that point clear, really, that we are just fans of music rather than, people democratically elected in some kind of process, which, lest I am wrong, I don't believe even the late great John Peel was ever actually elected by any kind of governing body to become a spokesman for music. I'm not sure, I don't know the ins and outs of his career.
I once voted for DLT, but that wasn't to get him on the radio. He was running in the local elections.
Sure. Oh, right.
The Hairy Cornflake Party.
Yeah. They should bring those guys back.
They were great.
Great guys.
None of this rubbish.
And I think Captain Seagull also he so loves the music, and he so has strong opinions on what a show should be, that at one point he says, "Look at the webcam. Whilst they're on, they've got someone else pushing the buttons for them.
Yeah.
It's not good enough."
No, that's true.
Now,
Very true.
the captain loves music so much, he's furious that I'm not even pressing play on the CD machine. I mean, how passionate are you about music that I've actually got to take it from its box and put it into the machine? Otherwise, he's just what? This man doesn't love music, he's never even handled a CD. He's not even got his grubby thumbprints all over that particular copy of Lou Reed. Furious, the captain is absolutely furious.
Yeah.
And someone else, I forget which guy is. It might have been Steve Swift. I'm not sure if it's Steve Swifty. It could have been Swifty, but he says, the music itself is okay, but each track is subject to a pre- and post-mortem like it's the first time it's ever been played on the radio, e.g. Dennis Wilson. Now, I admit that we do sometimes talk about the songs once we've played them, but I would point out, Swifty, that sometimes for certain listeners, that is the first time they've ever heard it on the radio, and so if we talk a little bit about it, it's because we're trying to sort of infuse about music and make it an inclusive club, and that actually the Dennis Wilson track you mentioned is one of the most obscure tracks you could play on the radio. I mean, it's not even available to buy anymore, and I think it's at least worth mentioning, that it was Dennis Wilson, later of the Beach Boys, etc., etc., etc. So all I'm saying is, guys, I appreciate that you listen. I know that you're very, very passionate about the show, but do give us a break. We're not trying to be here kind of champions of new music. We're just trying to be people who are enthusiastic about music. And in the end, one of them also says that this is some kind of extended vanity project. And I just think, again, this is a strange thing to do as a vanity project.
There's no way
isn't it?
this is an EVP.
How is this? How is this in any sense,
or anything like that.
An EVP.
The thing is, Steve, I quite like what you've done here. You've taken them to task. They're going to go nuts.
Those boys are going to be furious.
Yeah.
One thing they do say, which
there's no way our pictures are going on the website, because they'll have us.
they'll have us, yeah. No, these people are they're too weak from lack of sunlight to be able to actually ever manhandle you in the street. But they do say one thing, which is that I do sometimes talk over the ends of records, and you're right, I do sometimes do that, and I apologise because I know that does offend a lot of people, and the reason is normally basically, we're trying to keep the pace of the show up. We do like to have a little bit of a silly chit-chat. I apologise if you don't like that. But I would also remind you of this. If you do want to hear every second of the record, many of them are available to buy. Never be afraid to buy a record. It's always the same way as people... I always think it's odd when someone kind of requests a song, and they request Lionel Richie or something. I always think those are the people that probably have that in their collection and could probably go home and listen to it as well. They phone in a radio station. Could you play any Simply Red? Well, just pop the CD on. I imagine you've got stars. Everyone else in the world has. But anyway, no, so guys, really, I do appreciate it, and I think it's great that you're passionate about the station, and I apologise if I've offended you or upset you, but we're just trying to play some music that we like, and so my apologies again. And in that spirit, let's hear some Spearhead with the simple refrain, everybody deserves music. It's Steve Merchant on the Steve Show, 6 music before the trail. Everyone deserves music from Michael Franti and Spearhead. Now, regular listeners know that one of the important aspects of the show is that you, the listeners, can get involved. You can get in touch, because I do not claim to be a music know-it-all, and therefore I like you to recommend songs to me, introduce me to records, tell me a bit about them, about why they are important to you. And I believe we have a caller. Dan, who have we got on line 1?
It's only Stevie B.
It's Stevie B there.
Stevie B.
Stevie B. Stevie B, are you there?
Hey, what's up, Steve?
Hello, mate. This is going to get very confusing because your name's Steve, my name's Steve.
That is confusing.
It is already. I don't know who I'm talking to. I don't know what my name is or where I am.
I'll be Steve 1, yeah?
All right, Steve. Stevie B, is that like a hip hop name?
Oh, well, that's how I kick it, right?
Yeah, go. You keep it real, mate. Keep it fresh. No, I could bust it for you right now, as you know.
Yeah, I don't doubt that.
Yeah, are you off your head on Mongols? Was it Mongols, Dan?
Mongols.
I'd rather keep that to myself, because, you know,
of course. Your mum might be listening, sure. Stevie B, where are you calling us from?
I'm calling down in Kent.
Kent? All right, what have you been doing today?
Well, I've just been relaxing in today's sun, really, after busting some moves at my local discotheque.
Sure.
So just chilling out, listening to the fine music that you're playing today.
Thank you very much. Do you go to discotheques?
Discotheque? Oh, I certainly do, yeah.
What kind of music do you dance to?
Well, usually I like to stick to the 50s and 60s music. That's where I bust it, really.
That's your scene, is it? How old are you, Stevie B?
I'm 23.
23, and yet you're listening to the 50s and the 60s music. And what sort of stuff are we talking here? We're not talking it's classic rock and roll? Rockabilly?
Well, I mean, a bit of Chuck Berry, you know, Beatles, Beach Boys, Bob Dylan, you know, just the greats, really. I can't really sort of dance to indie music. It's just something I can't do.
I've noticed now there seems to be predominance of house. Everywhere's house music.
Oh, man, don't get me started on house.
It's not that... I mean, Stevie B, although he's going to get vicious about house music, he's going to be slamming the likes of Judge Jules. But the thing about house is it's not so much that I dislike house music entirely, it's that it's just ubiquitous. It's become the lift music of our generation. I was in a restaurant last night, and it's a lovely place, but house music, just pumping away. It's too fast-paced to eat food to, don't you think, Stevie B?
It's not right, it's not right.
It's just endless, and it's just every club seems to be house music. Every bar you go in is endless, boring, lame house music.
I wish they just turn it off.
Do you know, sometimes I've even gone up and said, could you turn it down? It's pathetic, isn't it? I tried to use my celebrity, could you just turn it down a bit? It's a bit loud, but it's not as rock and roll as I'd like. Stevie B, what do you do for a living?
I'm a computer technician.
Computer technician, and generally music you listen to would be in that 50s and 60s rock and roll vibe, or did you have an eclectic wide palette?
You know what, I think I'm pretty eclectic, really. I mean, I like good music, that's all I like. I mean, it ranges from, the 50s. I mean, I like the modern day stuff. I like Cat Power, you know, Libertine,
sure.
Stripes, everything, man.
The Stripes, nice. Just call them the Stripes. Why not? So what have you chosen for us today, Stevie B?
Today I've gone for Lone Wolf off their Shooting Down the album. I just want to reiterate, because I think you like this too, there's no the in before Eels, it's straight to the Eels.
Thank you for clarifying that. And now, obviously, I'm familiar with some of the Eels hits, but this one I'm less well known. This is less familiar to me. Did I just call them the Eels? Did I?
Yeah.
It's confusing, isn't it? It's hard.
They've got two Stevies. They're called Eels, not the Eels. It's too much.
It's a disaster. Listen, maybe we should just play Lone Wolf by Eels and decide afterwards whether we like it. Just stay there, Stevie. We will listen to Eels.
Spin it.
Thanks. Eels and Lone Wolf, the choice of listener Stevie B, who's still on the line. Stevie B, I'll tell you this, mate, not only are you a diamond geezer, but that's a great tune. Round of applause again for Stevie B.
Solid.
Stevie B, you have perked me up, because I was off my head on Mongballs earlier. I was feeling very lazy because of the afternoon sun, and yet that has perked me up. You've perked me up, and I can just imagine you in maybe your teddy boy outfit, rocking and rolling down Kent Way. And do you know what? I'd love to have a pint.
So would I, mate. Have you been following me?
Have I been following you?
Yeah, you know what I wear, don't you?
I imagine that. I just because I'm picturing you, and I imagine maybe you're sporting a quiff.
No, not till I run out of gel.
Sure. Are you, what kind of look do you go for normally? Are you the sort of guy like me who just tries to blend into the background, or do you like to make a statement with your clothes?
I like to blend in, to be honest.
Sure.
Just rough and ready.
Is Stevie B... I'm intrigued by Stevie B. Is Stevie B married?
I'm not married, no.
Is Stevie B, is he with a lady?
No, I'm a singleton.
Singleton, okay. Is Stevie B on the prowl